Hello and welcome, everybody. We acknowledge the Kaurna people as the owners of the land that we are gathered on today. We pay our respect to the elders past and present and acknowledge that sovereignty was never ceded. This will always was and always will be Aboriginal land. We also wish to acknowledge that art, music and storytelling have been central to Aboriginal cultures for over 60,000 years. We work to support this lineage and acknowledge the immense privilege it is to continue to create music here. Welcome to COMA this evening. We have the Max Grynchuk Big Band, and I'll let him elaborate further on the members and the substance of the music. But welcome and enjoy.
Awesome. Thank you. Thank you so much all for coming out tonight. That was a tune of mine that I wrote last year called Signor Pivo. The big band arrangement is new, so that's the first time it's ever been played. And that is about my adopted black cat named Pivo. Some of you might have been here at the gig last year when I did a spiel about it, so I won't give you the full story, but he's a cat. He's old. I do love him. Bonnie loves him too. Charlie loves him. Charlie used to live with him for a bit. Did that sound like Pivo to you, Charlie? No? Oh, wow. Too happy? Too nice? Yeah, okay, there you go, yeah. There's a lot of stuff in that tune that I love writing about things, and there's a lot of symbolic little bits and bobs in there, and one of my favorite things was there's a video circulating where there's a cat drinking, and cats, when they drink, they do some sick polyrhythms. And I remember once sitting in the room, and I'm just listening to people, and I just hear... And it's just these cool sevens, and then it gets weirder, and so there was a few things where I chucked in of that, and I hope that deep down you all felt those things. Maybe I'll do a plug for this, but Bonnie and I are going away overseas, and people needs a house sitter, so if there's anyone who needs accommodation for 5 weeks, hit me up after. That one featured the wonderful Mr. Jack Degenhart on alto saxophone. We're going to move on with another tune of mine. They're all tunes of mine this time. This one's called Pandemonium, and it was commissioned by Philip Walsh, who was the former director of music at St. Peter's, and now he's over at Wesley College. And so he asked me to write this one for his Wesley band. And again, I like writing for a specific vibe or a story, and so at this point it was during the pandemic, and Victoria was going through all the pretty brutal lockdowns, and I thought I'd try and write something that kind of reflected and was based around that. And this is the tune that resulted. So it's called Pandemonium. It's going to feature Harrison Smith on the trumpet. He's going to make a trumpet sound like a flugelhorn. This guy's insane. And then Mr. Sam Cagney on the guitar as well. So this is Pandemonium. you. Who was that again? Harrison Smith and Sam Cagney on the guitar. The next tune we're going to play was a tune I wrote at the end of last year for my high school big band that I was taking. We had a wonderful lead alto soloist, and so I thought I'd write a tune. I kind of left it pretty late. I kept telling him I would write a tune, and I just didn't get around to it. So I was doing it just before Christmas, and I wrote it, and I was pretty happy with it, but the reality is that it was pretty similarly modelled, a lot of parts of it, on a previous tune that I wrote that had featured the wonderful Mr. Jack Degenhardt, the Heartbreak Kid. And so when we did this tune, and it was, it worked, and the ballad was nice, but then when Jack started playing it on Thursday, Bonnie was like, oh yeah, it's just that tune. It's the same tune. So for those of you who might know, it was called Loving the Memory of You, and this is, I guess, its unofficial sequel. This one's called Nightfall. It's going to feature David as well, so that's an improvement. Yeah, it's not the same. much, Jack Degenhart on the alto saxophone. This next piece was another commission tune, which was really nice for that year, or those 2 years to have 2 commission tunes. This was for the Composer in Residence program at Wajo, which Tom was also a former recipient as well. And when Tom did it, they trusted him with 2 charts. For me, it was only 1, which was nice. I think they just split and had a 3rd composer that year, didn't they? So any young composers, please look out for that one and apply for it. I actually applied for it in 2016 and got rejected and was shattered for so long where it took me 8 years to do another application. So no, I actually just forgot about it, and then it was nice to see it come up again. Anyway, so that was for the Western Australian Youth Jazz Orchestra program, and so I was really chuffed to get that opportunity. And I was like, okay, well, what am I going to write? And so I was on a jog, and I had the idea. I was like, well, let's do like a spaghetti western big band chart. Let's do something weird. And so I listened to a bunch of like Ennio Morricone and watched some Western clips. I'll be honest, are we millennials technically, Bunny? No? Yeah, so my attention span's short. I wasn't going to sit through a long Western film. I ChatGPT'd what are some classic spaghetti Western tropes. It gave them to me. And so then I was on the jog, and I thought of a name. I was like, oh, this would be cool. Once Upon a Time in the West. Yeah, turns out that's a really, really probably the most famous spaghetti Western movie, and I was pretty disappointed to find out, but I named the chart after that anyway, because, there's no better names. And so what I did is I wanted to write a story that I could, make it a bit through composed, and so I wrote a little short story where I tried to jam in as many of those tropes that ChatGPT suggested. And so I'm gonna read that story to you as Sam gives us a bit of a setting. Sam, can you start setting the mood when you're ready? After a prolonged absence, an aging career thief returns to his hometown in the Wild West to find it a hollow shell of itself due to a corrupt and sadistic sheriff. Upon his return, he visits a local tavern where he's confronted by the sheriff's low-level henchmen. A bar brawl breaks out, leading to the arrival of the sheriff, and after a heated exchange, it becomes apparent that the town is not big enough for the two of them. The thief challenges the sheriff to a duel, but following a tense showdown, the sheriff emerges victorious. After being left for dead, the thief is aided by some kind townsfolk who nurse him back to health. But with his ego shattered due to the knowledge that he cannot defeat the sheriff in battle, the thief enlists the aid of his former gang and hatches a scheme to hit the sheriff where it hurts, his wallet. Armed with the knowledge that the sheriff's power comes from a stream of ill-gotten gold that arrives by rail, the gang stages a train robbery. After a fierce sequence, the gang are able to extract the blood money off the train and make a dash for the border. A chase ensues, and just as the situation begins to look dire, a fortunately timed cargo train splits the gang from their pursuers, allowing them to reach the border and putting them well outside the sheriff's jurisdiction. The gang drink a toast to their successful heist before setting off on their own journeys. Thank you so much. And that one featured Emil Riok on the tenor saxophone and Luke White on the flugelhorn. We've come to that point where we've got one more tune left, so I'll just do some thank yous and introduce this fantastic band. So in the trumpet section, we've got Harrison Smith, Luke White, Sean Helps, and Sam Hicks. Trombone section, Cassie Pope, Jasmine Hall, Thomas Voss, and Alex Taylor. In the saxophone, Tom Noonan, Christina Guala-Goodwin, Jack Degenhardt, Jordan Noble, and Emil Riok. On keys, David Goodwin. On the bass, Bonnie Grynchuk, my wife. On guitar, Sam Cagney. And on the drums, Sam Miller. Every time. Huge thank you to COMA for having us and the committee. So, hey, yeah, thank you, Bonnie. Thank you to Marty on sound as well. I'll tell you a bit about this final tune. So we did this one last year as a small group as well, and then I had a lot of fun fleshing this one out into being a big band chart a couple of months ago. This was written as a contrafact of a very famous standard called All Star by Smash Mouth, and sadly the lead singer of All Star passed away just before we actually performed it. So it is a bit of a touching tribute to Smash Mouth. This one is called Samba De Once Told Me. Yeah, that's right. And this one's going to feature Tom Noonan on the baritone sax, Tom Voss, 2 Toms, on the trombone, David Goodwin on the keyboard as well. So thank you so much. Stick around for the second set. Really excited to have our special guests from all the way from Holland, from the Netherlands. So this one's called Samba De Once Told Me.
Max Grynchuk Big Band, everybody. Another round of applause. Amazing stuff. Alrighty, now we're going to take a break. It might be slightly longer than usual because we have to pack down this monster of a stage before the next set, all the way from the Netherlands, Tin Men and the Telephone. So please stick around for that. It's going to be amazing. And yes, well done again.